Welcome to another episode of the Growth Zone, everybody. I am Shaunie Henderson, and this is my genius husband.
Keion.
You like that?
I do,
you?
baby. Thank you.
I want to know how your week has been going, or you know what, or like a current event that stuck out. I know you always are checking your news.
Yeah, so personally, the best news that I got this week was something that you and I have been building, our Dream Center building that we've been building in Humble, Houston area is scheduled to open a couple weeks from the time we recorded this. So that was like the greatest news of all time.
I know, that is super exciting. I'm so excited to do things in there. Like, in my mind, I have so many events already planned.
Yeah, you already have given me 2 events in the building that the keys haven't been turned over to.
Pretty much.
But I love that. I love it because we built it to be used. So I'm glad.
Right. And it's just basketball tournaments. It's receptions, it's brunches, it's everything.
And I'm excited about the name of it. So I was talking to our global brand strategist and she gave me back the vision and the mission statement. This is what it says. It said, the Dream Center Cultural Complex. Can you feel that?
You're smiling saying
Can you
that.
feel that?
I do. I like that.
It says,
Cultural
the first one was
complex.
like Dream Center.
Wow. The Dream Center.
Dream Center Cultural Complex.
You have to whisper.
I heard it in cinematic. I heard the Adobe sound.
Yeah. DCC.
Yeah.
Oh, see? Even
See,
when you
that's
abbreviate
nice.
it. You got to make sure the abbreviation sounds good too.
All right. Well, I'm holding you up. What are we talking about today?
Wait, I want to say it one more time. Dream Center Cultural Complex.
Dream Center Cultural Complex.
I like that.
Don't it feel good?
It does. And it means like anything can happen there. It's cultural. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
See? And it's a couple more geniuses on this team. I love it. Well, our topic today is about kids. I love this topic.
You do?
I do. Anything about kids.
Okay.
It's more so about kids and disciplining them.
Mm-hmm.
The title of this one is called You Can't Be Their Friends.
Ooh.
It's a lot of parents that will disagree. It's some parents right now saying, oh, yes, you can. That's my best friend. Okay.
Well, so maybe we should start off by saying these are our opinions and views.
Correct.
And we also subscribe to a multiplicity of parenting styles.
We do. That was very politically correct.
Is that the right way to say it?
Yes.
Okay.
I believe you can't be their friends. There has to be some difference in mom and girlfriend because the conversations are not the same. The topics are not the same. The context is nothing about that is the same. Now, for me and my kids, I keep a relationship with them where I want them to be able to share anything with me, talk to me about anything, feel comfortable. Because I don't think the way I was raised, I could have any old conversation with my mom. I wasn't able to go have a sex talk with my mom. And my dad, I probably could have, but I just didn't never feel comfortable to.
Okay.
So I have always intentionally left an open door for all kind of conversation. Now, how that conversation happens, like you're not just gonna come talk to me crazy. You know what I mean? Like you can't just talk to me any old kind of way. I'm that kind of mama. So yes, we can talk about this, but I'm still your mother. I'm not your girlfriend. But it's not. It's some folks out there that they don't believe that. They're cool with kids saying, coming in. What my mom used to say, in grown folks' business. I don't play that.
Yeah, well, I don't think that you can be your child's friend and have the appropriate boundaries that kids and parents need to have.
Yeah.
So now I think that parents can be friendly towards their children, but to be friends, I think that's a recipe for disaster because then I would have to question, well, how are your friendships defined? Like what is a friend to you, right? Because, a friend is somebody you can do anything with, say anything to, have experiences with. They can see you at your worst. And I know that your children are supposed to view all of those things in part, but I think that there should be a boundary where you don't take the children to. Like, there should be some conversations about the things that the children went through that the parent doesn't have to necessarily be forthright with immediately. Because what I would tell a 5-year-old is something different I would tell a 19-year-old, right? So I think that you have to have that there for boundaries. I think that you have to create boundaries between parents and kids.
Yeah, and kids need boundaries. It's, imagine us not having them growing up. You just did whatever, went wherever, said whatever. Like, I believe the structure of parenting, you have to have boundaries with your children. You have to have some guidelines, some rules, right? That's realistic. It's part of life. You're going to have rules everywhere you go, so might as well start at home. But I just feel like that there's some parenting right now, what is it, soft parenting, where they don't discipline at all. It's a continue to repeat myself.
I feel your soul disturbed.
Yeah, I'm not going to keep repeating myself.
You see, hold on. Let me just tell you how dangerous you just sound. Here you are talking just perfectly clear. And then you start talking about repeating yourself and you start whispering. You got in a fighting stance.
It's like, okay, everybody's not going to agree with me here, but I say this to parents all the time, especially the parents that have the toddler that's showing out in the grocery store and having tantrums and screaming and all that. You have to have a little bit of fear instilled in your child that there are consequences to you acting that way. I'm not saying beat them. I'm not saying, none of that. Whatever that is, that level of fear, it might be you grinding your teeth. It might be you changing your tone. How you said I just started whispering. I'm going to need you to be just a little scared that there's some consequences to you acting that way.
My mama used to say this all the time. She said, listen, wherever you show out, that's where you get woe out. Period. That was a rule in our house. So we knew that when we walked out of that house, we had better represent my mama, because if we didn't represent us, she was going to reprimand us.
Yeah.
And let me tell you how my mama would do it. She used to quote this scripture. It's in there too. I don't know what God was doing the day he wrote this one. But the Bible says, beat them and they will not die. Talking about disciplining children. And she read that scripture to us and then went on to give us the business.
Is that the context of that scripture?
That's the context of it.
He really meant that. Okay.
Yeah, that's the context of it.
I thought you were going to say it's a before and after.
See, look at you listening. You talking about context and pretext. Go ahead on, sister. I anoint you right now and I ordain you to be a minister of the gospel, because the way, okay. All right, let me get back on track. Should we have boundaries for our children? We agree. Should they be flexible or should they be rigid?
I'm okay with flexible.
Okay, what's a flexible boundary? And is your flexibility, and this is a general question, I am not accusing you of anything.
Oh boy.
Is your flexibility in the area of boundaries in a place where you wish you had more flexibility as a child and now you want to extend it to your children?
Okay. Oof. That could possibly be true. So I'll give you a flexible boundary for me. As my kids got older, I did not mind them cussing. That's probably going to be really judged, but it's true. I'm going to just be honest.
Be honest. Because it's the Groow zone.
My kid's dad is a cusser. He cusses. We all know that. It's public knowledge. And they're very used to that language, and not that they cuss like that. Don't say that. But as they got older, I don't cuss at me. You cannot cuss like. Does that make sense?
They can't cuss at you. They can say, they could be expressing themselves, something they experienced, and use the word in context. Unbothered.
Yeah, I really am unbothered by that. I don't feel, but I also have kids that know how to adjust in their surroundings. Like they're not going to, like I've never heard somebody say, "Oh, your kids was out in the streets just cussing up a storm." But in conversation, like Miles, for example.
Yeah, I don't even know if Miles knows English. I just think
Miles's
Miles
mouth is out of
is out of
control.
control.
And he doesn't even know it. Like
Yeah.
he just talks like that. And he means no harm, but that's a flexible boundary for me because I
Okay.
grew up in a house, wasn't no cussing. You know, my parents didn't cuss. Like my mother might say 5 cuss words a whole year, and you got to
Hmm.
really, really make her mad. My dad was not a cussing man, so I didn't grow up that way. But I, for some reason, had a flexible boundary with that. Like it doesn't bother me at
So
all.
where do we? Because I mean, we joking and playing around, but you found a way to have a flexible boundary. How do we as parents decide
What that
yeah,
is.
how do we decide where those boundaries are? Is it in the area of tolerance? Is it, cuz in my house, my mom, I don't remember her cursing.
Yeah.
I'm not saying she didn't, but she did. She definitely didn't around us.
Mm-hmm.
My mom didn't drink. I never saw her drink. I never saw her do a lot of things. But I'd also remember her being very, very strict on what we could and could not do. And I heard the same things from my granddad. Like it seemed like
Mm,
everything that he would say don't do, that's what she was telling
yeah.
us not to do. But every place that she disagreed with him, she was flexible with
Oh,
us. So I
yeah.
guess I'm just asking, and maybe this is something as a growth learner, as you're at home with your spouse or your child's mother or father, significant other, maybe ask yourself the question, even right now, like, where are we flexible and why are we flexible?
Hmm.
So just a question. Did you let them curse because you felt like since it was modeled in front of them?
You trying to say, did I want to cuss a lot?
No. I'm saying no. I'm
Ah,
saying, did you let them curse because their dad did it and you didn't want to be in opposition? Like they would be getting in trouble for something that was modeled in front of them, or what? Just say
no.
if the child's dad would take a shot every morning, would you say, well,
Oh,
since the dad,
no.
yeah? So how did you decide that was a boundary?
I think it just started to happen as they got older. And I was like, I think I used to say stuff like, especially because it was the boys mostly. Like my girls, well, let me. I was gonna say my girls aren't so bad, but I think
Well,
they
as
do
they
it
get
just
older,
to they like to do it to upset us.
yeah.
But the boys, I think it just started to happen, and I would see my grown son say, "Mom, I need to tell you this, but it's a few curse words, and I'm repeating what somebody else said." And I would be like, "Oh, okay." And then I'm thinking, "You're 24 years old. You don't have to ask me." So I
Yeah.
think I just started letting it happen in the moment and realizing like this is so not a big deal.
So
Like
at what age was it no longer a big moment?
like 18,
Okay, yeah. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with that. If you're talking
maybe
about,
Miles 12. No, I don't
yeah,
know.
see, at 12,
I'm
I just
kidding.
think,
I'm kidding.
because let me tell you what would have happened if I would have said that word in my house. I bet you everybody who's listening, your mama or somebody
Oh
raising
yeah,
you
no.
said this, I ain't one of your little friends.
But did you used to cuss like in the room with your sisters? Like you cuss at them or
Listen,
y'all was
if my
cussing?
mama wasn't looking, we was cussing each other out. As soon as my mama started looking, this is what we'd do to this day. Mama, you heard what she said? I'm putting it on them immediately.
Right. So I
And
would hear my kids
mhm,
like in their room and I'd go in, I'd be like, "What did you say?" And they're like, "Oh, nothing." But yeah, as they got older, yeah, we was sneaking
my
cussing
mama
anyway.
definitely heard me
I
cursing.
mean, what's the real repercussions to a little few curse words here? And
Saying it in the place
in the
where it is
wrong
not
place.
not okay, and
Right.
then getting
Right.
in trouble.
But that goes back to not being their friends because they know I always told my kids, like, you will not embarrass me.
Mm-hmm.
Like you are not gonna go out in public and show your behind. It's not gonna happen. And it really didn't. Like I never had that problem. I didn't have kids that had tantrums. I didn't. It was true boundaries set. But I think my kids now will tell you like they have an open door to come talk to me about it. We have a good time together. I was able to just balance it and I didn't have a book or anything that I was following. I'm sure I've dropped the ball many times, but I think now most of them being adults, we have a very healthy relationship and Mimi might say, "Oh, my mom's my best friend," but she also knows that mama will still snatch her up. You know what I mean? Or I will say, turn around and go take them short shorts off with me. You're not walking around with me
Like
like
we did
that.
yesterday.
Like we did yesterday.
Yeah.
So there's a line. And she went
And she
and
went
did
right
it.
and did
No
it as
problem.
a grown woman.
Yeah.
So I think you're right. So two things that I'm learning from the conversation. I think this is very important because there are parents who watching us trying to figure out, like y'all playing around, they thinking like, help us, like give us a lifeline. And the first thing I heard you say that I thought was important was instilling healthy fear. The second thing I think I heard you say was that it's okay and it's normal for the boundaries to change over time. Because what wasn't okay for a 12-year-old mouse, how dare you be losing your mind trying to discipline a 26-year-old
Right.
about what he's saying. Like, that is going to be exhausting. You can't even have him on your insurance at that point. So he's already grown. So I think instilling a healthy fear. And the second thing I think I heard you say that we should be implementing in the Groow zone is that it's normal and okay for boundaries to change over time. Is that a correct assumption of what I heard?
I believe so. I believe it has to happen. And
Okay.
with the way times are changing, you know what I mean? It's so many things that our children are exposed to that we didn't see till we were adults. You know, like they literally see people die on social media, or sex is just easy to find. Everything is just right at their fingertips, literally. And we didn't have that as kids. Like we didn't see that. You know, if you wasn't living in the hood and saw it happen on the street in real life, you were not. Where would we go to see that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I can't think of any place. I just know that it's important that as parents evolve, or I should say it this way, as children evolve, we as parents, we can't be so rigid. We got to evolve with them.
Yeah.
Because if we can recognize and acknowledge that they have seen things that we haven't seen, and their world is different than the one that we grew up in, and yet we keep on reminding them, in my day, well, your day ain't today.
Right.
And so here you are using rules.
Yeah. Matter of fact, your day was yesterday.
Your day was yesterday, right?
We're
So
moving ahead.
can we evolve, right? So
Yeah.
so if my child, I'll give you an example. Caitlin is 10. I think you remember this. She had a TikTok. You remember? She had that TikTok.
Yes.
And I saw my 7, 8-year-old daughter on TikTok doing the same dances as these other grown people on TikTok. Now I got two things to do. I can either chastise her for dancing the way that these people are dancing on the platform where it's okay, or I can step up and take her off the platform and recognize that until she evolves to the place where she can see that and not mimic it, then it's not good for her to have. So I didn't fuss at her about what she was doing. Only I fussed at her about what she did and let her know what she did I thought was inappropriate, but then I took away, to the best of my ability, access.
Right.
And when she evolves, I'll evolve.
Exactly.
When she shows me she can handle it, she can get it back. But at 10, I don't see it.
Right. And that is your job as a parent.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think that it drives me nuts sometimes to sit back and watch some folks' parenting skills. And I know I'm not supposed to judge, but I just be like, let me have your baby give me her for 1 month and I'll get it right. Like, it's some parents that are like scared to parent. You'll hear parents like, oh, well, if I correct her, or if I stop her, or if I chastise her for this, she's going to revert and just go away and stop talking to me. That's a misstep somewhere along the way. If you have this disconnect, you can't say to your child, for example, Miara, if I fuss and go, she does shut down. But it's like, that's not okay with me. The shutdown, we will sit here all day until we start communicating. I talk, you talk. And if you feel like I'm not understanding, let's get a third person in here, which is usually you, to come in and be our mediator or whatever. But we're not going to just do this That's not an option.
You know why I think go ahead, I'm sorry.
No. I think that's just something that I instill, like this nonverbal stop. I'll give you a minute. I'll give you a few hours if you need it. But we're going to resolve this. We're going to talk about it tonight. Or if it's tonight, first thing in the morning, whatever it is, we're not going to just go in the room, close the door, shut down. But again, those are boundaries. That's something that you instill in your child early on, and the respect of doing as I say, we're going to talk about this. You're not going to shut down. If I need to give you a few minutes, that's cool. But it's no options of just, oh, they're going to go away and never talk to me again. And not in my house. You're
Yeah.
not. That's not how this goes.
Yeah, I think we can all agree parenting is hard, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's difficult and there are so many options, and parenting is instilled in how I was parented.
Yeah.
So the job doesn't start with me. The job started with the job that was done on me. And so now I'm trying to do the job and trying to undo the part of the job that I thought was unfair and unjust. All of that is going on. But I think the reason why children and parents have that opposition of, if I discipline them, they're going to leave me, is because if communication starts when I'm chastising you, then they're going to leave. If I've got this rapport where we've been communicating about the good, the bad, and the ugly. So I got to be as much of a congratulator as I am, coming after you for what you didn't do right. If you're not balanced, everything's going to get off balance. So of course, if you're imbalanced in that area, the kid is going to run away. That's the reflection of having not built a strong enough bridge or relationship with the child. And now all I hear from you is, you didn't get the grades right, or you didn't do this right, or you always getting everything wrong. Well, yeah, I'm going to run away from you because all I hear from you is what I don't do.
Right.
But I will run to you if you tell me what I do right.
Right.
And what I see that you have done with your children, at least, is you're at the basketball game cheering, which buys you the equity to fuss when it ain't going right. You got to be a cheerleader and a principal. You can't just be all cheerleader.
Right.
You can't be all principal. I think you got to be both.
Right. And present. Being present is
Huge
so
word.
important, because you also have the parents that their child is needing some discipline, but you're not present enough for them to give you that respect or understand it when it's happening. Like, you ain't even been here this week, or we're in the same house, so you're not even talking to me, but then you expect me to have this self-awareness of who I am, how to conduct myself, especially in those early teenage years. I know, being a single parent, as a woman, it's hard when your sons get in that teenage space, because they're feeling different things. They're liking girls. I'm sure they like girls before then, but it's just a whole different world that they step into, that as a woman, I cannot teach them how to be a man. I just can't.
Yeah.
But, and I think when you explained something to me, because I was struggling when my youngest son got to that point where he was like a junior, senior in high school. He was the last boy in the house. So it was him, me, and his two sisters. His two older brothers had gone to college and out the house. So he was like feeling himself a little bit, kind of like, I'm the man of the house. Technically, you're the male of the house, but you are not, like, you ain't running this. You ain't paying no bills or whatever. But he was really feeling himself in a space of just like, I'm a junior now, and I want to do this, that, and the other, and kind of not bucking up, but coming back a little more than I had ever experienced. My older two sons did not do that. He really felt like he had a say-so.
Yeah.
And I wanted him to feel like he had a say-so, but you're going to respect my house. You're going to respect me as your mother. So you telling me what you don't want to, what you're not going to do, or I ask you to take the trash out and you take your good time, and when I come say it a second time, you got something smart. That's not going to work.
Right.
But as a mother with a 6'5" son that is saying no, I'd say stuff like, if you want them two front teeth to remain there, please.
You have to threaten him to get him to come on down.
But all kids are different.
Yeah.
I didn't have to do that with anybody else. Shakir,
Yeah.
like chokehold, but it is what it is. I might be
alive.
smaller, but I'm still right. You still alive. You might be a little battered and bruised. I didn't have to whip him, but
No.
I did have to parent him different.
So in that instance, you were actually modeling the opposite of what I read recently about this concept called gentle parenting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, gentle parenting is you have to be vulnerable with your vulnerabilities, and you have to share your innermost feelings with the child in a moment like that. You are not being gentle.
share my innermost feelings with the
Ma'am,
child in the moment.
please don't shoot the messenger. I did not write this. I am just simply telling you what I read. What is your ideas about gentle parenting as I explain it? I could be inaccurate about its complete composition, but being vulnerable and sharing the inside of you and with Shakira in a moment like that.
Oh, he probably did get the innermost feelings of how I felt in that moment. For sure he did.
He
So
knows
maybe
everything you think.
aggressively gentle parent. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I do know the gist of what you're talking about. And that is those parents that repeat themselves over and over again.
Just not
they'll be
doing it.
like, Johnny, that is not how those are the kids that be hitting their parents.
Let me tell you something. If I ever had a child that
Oof.
hit me,
That'd be the last hit.
I can't tell you the amount of frustration would be in me because I accidentally bumped my mama before and thought my life was over.
Wait, how do you accidentally bump her?
Because, all right,
In the midst of you getting in trouble, were you already in trouble?
I was getting a whooping
And bumped her?
actually I threw my hands back. She said, "You hitting me?" It was an accident.
You probably did.
No, ma'am. Let me tell you that I will never hit that woman. At 70, I think she would find enough strength to come and climb up me like a mountain and knock me back down.
I believe that.
But see, I fear my mom, but I transpose it to another way. You say healthy fear, it's like a respect. It's a fear that's etched in respect, not scared. I ain't scared of her.
Well,
I
not
respect
now,
her.
but you were.
Back then I was.
Yes.
But now as we evolve,
yes,
that fear has to turn into respect.
Absolutely.
Because if fear stays fear at this age, then you don't have a relationship.
There's the disconnect. Yeah.
So that means that fear has to still have boundaries because if it's left untapped, then it's going to grow a life of its own later on in life. And now if I have a fear of you at this age, I just won't be around you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. So but it's like you said, you have to grow with it. It's consistently changing. Cause I would imagine if you are scared, like literally scared of your parents as an adult, you just you don't exist. And that could draw absolute disconnect within the entire family. But I also think even in parenting, you know what you received and what you didn't receive from your parent or parents that you can implement or take away in your parenting. So for example, my father was very like I'm such a daddy's girl. But he didn't attend things, right? It's weird. Like he would do things with me, but it'd be on his own time. Like he's going to take me horseback riding. He's going to take me all these things that we used to do. But my recitals and my school plays and the stuff like that, he was not there. It's weird. But saying that makes me overly present for my kid. I don't even know if that's the thing, overly. But I am present for everything. If I have to spend 30 minutes at each thing, I'm going to be there. I'm showing up to everything. And you even know this. I still right now feel guilty for things that I can't make it to. But I think that's probably from my childhood of how I can remember my dad. My mom was always there, but my dad was never there. But I get home and he wanted to hear all about it. But I never understood why he didn't come.
I think that what we do as parents, especially those of us who have had, it's probably all of us in the Groow Zone who've had traumatic moments with our parents. Two things we got to recognize. Number one, we can have expectations for our parents like our children have for us. Problem is you don't know how they were parented by their parents.
Right.
So then they bring their trauma into raising you. And then we take our trauma and then we raise them.
Yeah.
And now we're stuck in this cycle of parenting out of regret.
Yeah.
Like now I'm parenting out of regret because my dad didn't spend a lot of time with me. Now I'm going to be at everything for you. But when we do things out of regret, we expect a level of appreciation for people who don't know the place we're doing it from. So now the other side of that is if I show up for you, like my daddy didn't show up for me, and you don't accept it and you're not overjoyed about it, now I'm mad at you. See, that's trauma that wasn't I wasn't there because I just wanted to be there. I was there because somebody wasn't there for me. And then that's that tension that gets created between parent and child that doesn't just go away because they turned 19. Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes total sense. It makes total sense. I think that's so important. But that goes back to communicating with because again, with my kids, for example, they know I'm not their friend, but I communicate. I'm very, very verbal about what I do, how I do it, my intentions for them. Every parent usually says, I just want the best for you. I will actually have a conversation about why I want the best for them and how can I help you achieve whatever it is, the goals you want to achieve and all those things. We have those conversations. And I think me knowing some of the trauma that I had as a child, like my dad not being there, or my dad was always late. Always late. He was super social, so he always got caught up in a conversation somewhere. It was always late, or if we were with him, we were always going to be sitting in the car because he, saw Mr. Johnny, and him and Mr. Johnny was going to stand out there and talk for 2 hours while my sister and I were in the car. That would be a thing. So those little things, I know they sound so small and not a big deal, because somebody's saying, "Well, I wish my daddy was there at all." Somebody's going to say that, but those things are things that I was like, I never want to be late for my kids. I never want them to be like the last kids picked up from school, because I was a lot, and I always want to be present. And my mother is not affectionate, so I wanted that for my kids. So I'm a hugger and a kisser and I love you all day long, because my mother showed love. She didn't say it, and she showed love by doing stuff for you. She wasn't affectionate. So I'm affectionate with my kids. I tell them I love them. I wanted them to be able to talk to me because I couldn't talk to my parents. There was just things that my mother felt like was not for a child to discuss. Even if it was just being inquisitive, even if I just wanted to learn, she was like, that's inappropriate. You don't talk to me about that. So I didn't want that for my kids. So those traumatic things or things that I experienced, I wanted to make sure my kids had an open door to talk to me. They felt my love in more than just saying it. And, those little things like not being late and showing up.
You just made me think about something. I just want to ask you what you think. So the way you express parenting, especially for the things that you key on, it's like you overcompensate in the areas of your deficits. And because children by nature, especially younger ones, and I would say adolescents up through, preteens, maybe into the late teens, they're always going to try to figure out a way how to escape the system, right? So is it incumbent upon us to realize that this is why it is probably not a good idea to be your child's friend? Because in order to be a friend, you have to show vulnerability. And if they know those vulnerabilities, they'll use those vulnerabilities against you. So that's why we have to be parents to our children and friends to our friends. We can be friendly to our children. But I don't think we can be friends, because the level of vulnerability that I have to have with a true friend, that is proprietary information that it won't sit well or age well in the hands of an adolescent.
Right. What about when your child becomes an adult?
I think that, man, you took the words out of my mouth, because I think that we have to evolve, that we eventually become friends with our parents. So I think that and again, ladies and gentlemen in the Groow Zone, we're just talking. We're talking. We're all trying to figure this thing out. It's hard. Right. That's why we have to have healthy conversations. But, my thoughts are the friendship, parent-child, there's incompatibility there, because I'm supposed to love my friends through their mistakes, but I'm supposed to guide my children through theirs.
Yeah.
And I think that the incompatibility of that concept makes it very difficult, because you can't parent your friends.
Right.
Try to be, I'm your husband. And the one thing that we have to make sure that we do as friends is not parent each other in relationships.
Right. Right. You have to allow people to make mistakes. Even you have to allow your children to make mistakes. It's just the learning process, right?
That's
You
true.
can't fix everything for them. And I'm one of those parents that I literally do try to fix everything for my kids. But I had to get to a point where it's like you have to stop fixing everything for them, because here I am now, with a 22-year-old that will still call and be like, Mom, can you set my dentist appointment? Because I was that parent that just did everything. So I'm not equipping them with the tools they need to just become independent adults.
It's funny you said that, because at the time of this recording, we are literally one day away from me, you, Shakir, Amira, and Miara going out to eat.
Yes.
And we sit at the table, and Shakir is 21.
20.
He's 20. This man looks across the table at you and says, Mama, can you order my food? And I'm thinking in my head, I wish she would. You bet not order this grown man food.
Right.
And you didn't.
No.
And do you know what he did? He looked at his younger sister, who's 17, and made her order it. I wanted to push him out of the chair,
right,
and step on his ankle.
Right.
Why are we asking our mother at 20
with no shame
Mm-mm. to order our food?
That's my fault, I guess. I don't know why I ordered the food though, because I don't know the last time I ordered Shakir's food. I think sometimes he just does things to see if he could do them. But you're right about the friendship thing, because imagine me sitting up talking to my kids about our relationship. I would what? But
It's
that's what you do
incompatible.
with your girlfriends, right? You sit up and be like, you know what, Keion? Right. Yesterday I was talking to him. He's, you have those or give me your opinion on whatever. With your good girlfriend, you can have these kind of conversations. But I ain't sitting up with Mimi, my child, and being like, Keion made me mad yesterday.
Right.
Like, never. So, yes, we can be friendly. I'll agree with you 100%. We cannot be friends, because it's not a give and take here.
Yeah, it's
you
not
can
compatible.
Sit up and tell me about all your girlfriends. Matter of fact, you've heard me and the girls. I'll ask them about their friends. They'll tell me issues. Even then, they're probably not giving me all the details. But that is maybe where they could say, oh, Mom's my best friend. Or, like I tell my mom everything. Okay. But I do want you to have that door to always be able to share whatever it is with me. It's not going the other way around, though.
Exactly. And especially if I want you to still have respect for it. If I'm talking about you to the kids, and I want them to still have respect for you at the end of the day, but I'm using my skew on what you did to inform them, now I'm creating disloyalty amongst the kids who are looking for authority.
Right.
So again, I just don't think that there is compatibility there. I think that what we can end on is saying, listen, we got to instill healthy fear, but we have to define that as respect. We got to understand that it is natural and normal for boundaries to change. And 3, I think that we can be friendly to our children, but we can't be friends with them. I think that is a safe construct for anybody who's watching. At least that's what we feel has worked, and we raised 6 of them. So
yeah,
and
I ain't ordering no 20-year-old's meal at no table.
You better not order them. I'm telling you that. I know one thing.
His sister did. She was so proud. She was so proud to order for her. But who does that? I don't know.
I don't know, but I think this is a healthy, necessary, and natural conversation that people of all ethnicities and all socioeconomic statuses need to have. And that is, can we be friends with our children? And I think that we can be friendly with them, but I don't think that we should call them our friends until the relationship evolves, until they can handle a relationship on this level. Because the goal is to bring them in the world as your child, but to end up being friends with them. And I think that that is when life is amazing.
Love that.
You agree?
I agree, babe.
Listen, thank you all so much for being with us on the Groow Zone. I really enjoyed listening to you today. You had some very, very insightful thoughts.
Yeah.
And I hope that you will use what we talked about as you are continuing to grow inside in the Groow Zone. We'll see you soon.